Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we are still going to be going over Major Hurricane Milton, which is still extremely strong. It has weakened a little bit after the southern edge of it already going over parts of the Yucatan and Mexico. But thankfully, the eye of it didn't, or else the Yucatan Peninsula could have had some really bad impacts. But unfortunately, this still does look to intensify after it passes the Yucatan, and we are still going to be dealing with some pretty big impacts in Florida too as well by the time it makes it over there. So if you are new here to the YouTube channel, or if you guys haven't subscribed already, make sure to go down below and press that subscribe button. I really do appreciate you guys getting me halfway up there towards 600 subscribers. So if you guys would continue to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be great. And don't forget to leave a like too as well. That helps out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns down below too as well if you haven't already. But let's first go ahead and start out on the tropics. And as you guys can see, we do have Hurricane Milton, and like I said, the southern edge of it is already impacting parts of the Yucatan right there. The eye of it isn't impacting the Yucatan, which, like I said, is good news, but the bad news is that, it's still going to be able to intensify a little bit around the eye part, as that is still currently in the water. So that's something that we still need to be keeping an eye on, as this is still causing some heavy rain and gusty winds to parts of the Yucatan. We're still watching these other areas of development. These ones don't really and look to impact much in the way of land. This one may bring a little bit of showers and storms to Bermuda, but I don't even think this one's going to be impact any land either. But we will keep an eye on them just in case. Same with Leslie. I don't think Leslie's going to be impacting any land, as it does look to take a similar path like Kirk. So we'll be keeping an eye on it just in case. But as of right now, we don't really expect none of these to impact any land, but we will still keep an eye on it, like I said, just in case they do. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the cone of uncertainty with Milton. And as you guys can see, like I said, the southern edge of it is bringing some pretty big impacts to the Yucatan, as it is experiencing some tropical storm force winds. And, we do have a hurricane warning in effect, and that's just, caution. There could still be a couple of hurricane wind gusts. The sustained hurricane wind gusts are well out towards the eye, and the eye is well offshore, like I said. So that's one of the reasons why, we're not really seeing the worst of impacts across the Yucatan. But, we will still keep an eye on it, as this thing still does look to, continue as a major hurricane by the time we head into Wednesday. Still looks to continue by the time we head into Wednesday afternoon, and then maybe looks to be making landfall as late as midnight Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. So we'll have to see when exactly this makes landfall, but I think the best time for landfall will be Wednesday evening towards midnight. Somewhere around there is when we can expect there to be landfall. So today would be the best time to get prepared as we head into tomorrow, because even if the hurricane isn't here tomorrow, you guys will still likely be dealing with a lot of showers and thunderstorms, and we will be talking about that why in just a little bit. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the storm surge forecast. And as you guys can see, we do expect there to be some really life-threatening storm surge across all of the western coast of Florida, especially, as anywhere from 10 to 15 feet of storm surge at the max is certainly possible across the Tampa Bay area, all the way down there towards Charlotte Harbor. So you guys in those areas really do need to be taking this seriously. But even areas, like the Florida Keys, you guys could get some pretty good storm surge of 1 to 3 feet. Even areas up here towards the Yankeetown area in Florida, you guys could get anywhere from 5 to 10 feet of storm surge. And even areas along parts of the Georgia coast, and even down most of the east coast of Florida, could get anywhere from 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. But we could even see as much as 5 feet up here towards Jacksonville, Florida. So we'll definitely continue to keep an eye on it, as this does look to be a major concern. Let's now go ahead and look at the model track guidance, and as you guys can see, all of them are saying that this will go right over Florida, but I think the weird part about these models is that they show it going straight across the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, that just doesn't really make any sense for them to just go straight across the Atlantic Ocean, but we're mainly just concerned on where exactly this will make landfall, and like I said, it's pretty much going to be right over Central Florida, but especially over the Tampa Bay area, which is where most models really show this going. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated in the Tampa Bay area, or if anything changes on where exactly we could see landfall, but as of right now, it looks to be the Tampa Bay area, as that's where most models are showing the system going. Let's now go ahead and look at the intensity guidance, and like I said, it has died down a little bit. As you can see, it's just below low in category 5 now, but some of them do show it re-strengthening, and like I said, we are, concerned about this potentially intensifying because the eye is still well off the Yucatan Peninsula, so that's why we are watching this closely. And then, as it does continue, still will likely, continue as at least a major hurricane, and could, even die down significantly by the time it reaches the Florida coast, which is certainly something we do need to be keeping an eye on. So, it really just depends on what exactly is going to be happening by the time it reaches that area, but I do at least think this will continue as a major hurricane, and, it definitely will continue to die down, but it will definitely be a major hurricane by the time it makes landfall in Florida. Let's now go ahead and look at the risks for severe weather, and as you guys can see, we do have a marginal risk for a few severe thunderstorms across a pretty good part there of the western coast of Florida, including most of southern Florida and even the Florida Keys, where we do have a risk for a couple of isolated spin-up tornadoes for today. The wind threat, we do have a threat for some damaging winds. Now, keep in mind that the wind threat isn't the chance, of hurricane force winds, or, it's not the chance of a hurricane containing those damaging winds. That means that's the chance of isolated thunderstorms containing those damaging winds. So that would be like thunderstorms that you guys are already seeing right now, well ahead of Milton, which is already well back there towards the Yucatan, like I said. So that's something to really be keeping in mind if you are going to be looking at the severe weather risk, is that this is more of the probability of winds or thunderstorms containing those damaging winds than the hurricane containing those damaging winds. So make sure to keep that in mind if you're going to be looking at this. And thankfully, no hail threat, so main concern will just be a couple isolated tornadoes and maybe a couple isolated damaging wind gusts from those isolated thunderstorms. Let's now go ahead and take a look at tomorrow, and as you guys can see, similar thing, but we do see a much higher severe storm threat across southern and central Florida, including the Tampa and as well as the Orlando area. We do have that risk for a couple of tornadoes as we do head into tomorrow, but we could, maybe even see a tornado outbreak, not because we expect there to be one, but because, hurricanes can really spin off more tornadoes than what we really anticipate, which did happen with Helene when it did develop. So that's why we are going to be watching this extremely closely as we do head into tomorrow. For the wind threat, like I said, this doesn't have to do, with the hurricane containing those damaging winds. This is more of those isolated thunderstorms containing those damaging winds, and we do have a risk for that. And then thankfully no hail threat either, but we will still continue to keep an eye on it. Let's now go ahead and take a look at day 3 finally, which will be for Thursday of this week, so that will pretty much be after tomorrow. They haven't issued the hazards yet, but that severe storm threat still does look to continue across the southern half of Florida, so we'll continue to keep an eye on it, but we could still see some changes because we are looking a little bit far out. So definitely get ready down here towards southern Florida too, as well, as a couple of days of severe weather are possible. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the total rainfall, and the latest from it has actually just gotten worse. We're now talking the potential from 12 to 16 16 inches of rainfall across parts of the western coast of Florida, especially areas across the northern Tampa Bay area, likely to see, over a foot of rainfall, but even some more areas along the eastern coast of Florida, such as areas in between Orlando and Jacksonville, and may even include Daytona Beach, where we could be seeing anywhere from 12 to 16 inches, guys, of rainfall. So this is definitely, continuing to, get more and more concerning as we do get closer to landfall. So you guys definitely need to be ready for not only storm surge and, very impactful hurricane force wind gusts, but you guys also need to be prepared for some major flash flooding, and this could even cause some major river flooding too as well. And so that could definitely be several days of flooding right there until those rivers go down. So make sure to be aware about that these next few days. Let's look at the risk for flash flooding, and one of the days that we are most concerned about is tomorrow, but today we still do have that risk for some flash flooding across parts of central and southern Florida. But tomorrow, like I said, looks to be the most concerning, as we do have a high risk for flash flooding, and you guys can even see it over here, and that's going to be for tomorrow, like I said. So places like Tampa Bay, heading into Orlando, and even areas a little bit north of those areas look to be seeing that highest risk for flash flooding tomorrow. And I mean, this is pretty rare, guys. I mean, we have not seen a high risk for flash flooding in Florida for quite some time, and I'm not necessarily talking about the panhandle of Florida, where Debbie and Helene really caused some major flooding there, and that's why we saw high risk with those ones, but I'm talking more of the, peninsula of Florida. So pretty much areas like Orlando and Tampa Bay, those areas haven't seen a high risk for quite some time, like I said, and that's why this is really concerning too as well. And then for day 3, that flash flood threat does continue, across parts, of the coast of Florida, especially up here towards Jacksonville, and like I said, may even include Daytona Beach. So we'll definitely watch those areas extremely closely, even as we head into Friday. But like I said, it really does look to be, today, and as well as tomorrow, where we really do see that pretty big threat for some flash flooding. Let's now go ahead and look at what we can expect with the hurricane models. Now this model is showing it may be being a lot stronger hurricane by the time it does reach the Florida coast. So we're talking the potential for maybe a strong category 4 hurricane still by the time it reaches the Florida coast. And if this system does intensify, then this could very well, be a category 4 hurricane by the time it reaches those areas, just indicating that it will last longer. And that's exactly what this model right here is showing. So we'll definitely continue to keep an eye on it extremely closely, as it is looking concerning. And even as it gets closer to the coast, where it does start to interact with that dry air and wind shear, and that's why it's starting to die down a little bit, that wind field looks to be getting much bigger too as well, and that's why there's also some warnings in effect for those areas in the panhandle of Florida. Let's now go ahead and take a look at another model. This is the Herman model. As you guys can see, this model is showing a pretty similar thing, where it still stays a category 4 by the time it gets closer to the Tampa Bay area, and that's one of the reasons why we still do need to really be keeping an eye on this closely. And then by the time it heads on shore, we'll still have to keep an eye on that too as well, but it does look to at least be near a category 4 hurricane by the time it gets close to the coast. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy today's weather forecast. If you guys are new here to the YouTube channel, or if you guys haven't subscribed already, make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button. Like I said, I do appreciate you guys getting me up there, at least closer to 600 subscribers. So make sure to continue subscribing to my YouTube channel, and that would be great. I am thinking about getting Radar Omega 2 as well. I may even start paying for it. So, if you guys would like me to continue to get better, and, of course, make my YouTube channel better by buying things like that, and you guys should definitely subscribe, and as well as like, but also leave any questions, comments, or concerns down below, as each of those help out more than you know. And I hope you guys all have a great day.